loving what they're doing. We're seeing this new generation of IGLs come through, Tarek being one of them. Yeah, I mean, maybe I think Cloud9 should be more confident. I'd back them in a best of one against a lot of teams.
Yeah, this is probably the best Cloud9 has ever looked, right? And you heard it from Tarek. They were surprised by the train pick. I think that was the intention of Mousesports, but you can also see the comfort level of Cloud9. They were so dynamic against the default, pop flashing for each other, breaking it down. And Mousesports used 3 timeouts in that first half, trying to break it down. They did manage to pull off a slight comeback, get some rounds on the board, but then in the second half, Automatic just decided it is over.
Yeah, enough is enough. Let's take a look at the standings. Again, confirmation on your screen that Cloud9 are indeed 3-0. Mousesports, of course, 2-1. They might get lucky here. Who knows? Might be easy for them. And Flipside went out a little bit earlier, already on Twitter, saying, well, we had a good time. So I'm not sure anyone else did. But there you have it. So now we are going to get into the big board, and we're going to start talking about, who we're going to draw next. So just as always, we've had Minsik, Vice President of Tournament Operations here, and he's going to be drawing the teams. And you can already see the ones who've advanced through there. We're going to do the 2-1s first, and then move into the 1-2s. So should we start? Yeah, okay, we're all ready to go. So, first name out in the 2-1s, Space Soldiers.
All these 2-1s are going to be bloodbath matchups.
Yeah,
we
super close.
We have really, really good teams in this group. So there are no really easy matchups. Obviously, you want to avoid FaZe Clan if you can. That's where it's good for Vega, right? They already play them, so they're safe in that regard. Space Soldiers versus Mousesports. That's another interesting lineup. Space Soldiers seem to, with each matchup, they get a slightly tougher opponent and have to prove themselves. So Mousesports not the worst opponent they could get, especially if you see how they played today. But besides today's game, they've been very, very dominant in this tournament, and I do expect them to bounce back.
Now, Team Liquid coming out. They're in the 2-1s. Despite using a stand-in, looked very good against Renegades earlier. Renegades had to come back and battle hard, but Team Liquid got there in the end. So, yes, and as Minsik points out there, because they've already played FaZe, they can't play a team they've already played, so FaZe will be dropping down into that draw there. So,
and because FaZe can't play Vega either, that tells
pretty
you
much
Liquid is going to play Vega Squadron.
Yeah.
And
well, that's super interesting because, I'm guessing Vegas Squadron,
they're both loving it.
Well, yeah, right. Both teams are going to be loving it. But I don't know. I might give the edge to Vegas Squadron there because the way they played against G2, it came down to that incredible reset in overtime for G2. Vega pushed them all the way, looked very good at this tournament. So I don't know. I don't know how much further Liquid can go with these 16-14s in close games, especially Vega, red-hot form.
Yeah, their reads have been mad good. They've been taking a lot of gamble stacks in that comeback, because they've had to. They've been so far behind, and it's been great. And Liquid, yes, with a stand-in, but Nitro is playing for 2 at the moment. He's had he's had a sick major, so that's going to be a very, very interesting matchup. Probably the best chance for both of those teams to make it through. And the last matchup that we have,
FaZe Na'Vi.
FaZe Na'Vi, and that's another one that even Na'Vi has looked quite shaky at times in this tournament. So has FaZe, and looking how they like to challenge individually, Na'Vi does on their T side, that might be interesting because FaZe is not going to back down to anyone.
And of course, Simple taking on Nico in that one, two of the best players in the world going head-to-head. Can't wait to see that. Now, we move into the 1-2s. You'll see the already eliminated teams just lurking above them. And there it is, QB Fire, first name out. And they've been battling away, tenacious, gritty. But there's some big names here now, and QB Fire are going to want to dodge them all.
I think you probably want... I think if you're anyone, you probably want QB Fire even over Avangard. They have shown a lot more in this tournament. That one win that QBF had was over Flash. That was an abysmal game, as we already pointed out a few times. So for a team like Envious, another team who's been probably, alongside Flipside, the most disappointing squad so far, this is another stroke of luck for them, so to speak, that they get another relatively easier opponent to extend their stay.
Or maybe it's a stroke of luck for QB Fire, the way Envious are playing, who knows. Misfits, the next name out. They weren't able to sort of prove themselves against this European opposition today with that loss against Space Soldiers. Was close, 16-13, but I'm sure Sean Gares is going to be disappointed
Absolutely, especially because they won both pistols in that game.
Well, and again, it's another tough one here. Misfits are going to be taking on a Vanguard, who, of course, just eliminated Flipside. They're going to be on a massive high. I saw a great interview on HLTV where they said, we're not here for the experience. Everyone's talking about experience. We're here to win.
Yeah, which is
real.
great to hear the confidence from. And this is going to be an interesting matchup, seeing as how Avangard mostly rely on individual skill, right? Getting the kills, and Misfits rely more on strategy and you know, following Sean Gears and his game plan. So in a similar fashion, Misfits are similar in style to Flipside, and we saw how Avangard was very comfortable against Flipside. So against Misfits might be potentially a good matchup for them yet again.
Yeah, and Renegades versus Sprout, this is an interesting one. We saw Sprout really start to unravel today, shouting at each other, bickering, the Dennis regime not working out. Renegades, on the other hand, are going to be feeling a bit hard done by how things went down with Team Liquid. I give Renegades the edge there, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Despite the heartbreaking losses, you need to be able to bounce back mentally, but Sprout has been very, very underwhelming as well. Besides that win against Space Soldiers, you know, we haven't seen pretty much anything from them, and you wonder whether they have enough firepower to go through in a tournament of this magnitude. So, yeah, the Renegades definitely the favorites in that last matchup.
Right, so just to remind you of all the matchups, this isn't the order they're going to be played in, but we've got Space Soldiers versus Mousesports, Team Liquid versus Vega Squadron, FaZe versus Na'Vi, QB Fire versus Envious, Misfits versus Avangard, and Renegades versus Sprout. Now, of course, as well, we broke the news yesterday that 100 Thieves aren't going to be here, and that actually creates some opportunities for the teams that are ranked 2 and 3. And what we're going to do is we're going to pit them against each other. We're going to do the sum of the opponent's match wins. Then we're going to take in head-to-head match results. Then a random draw. And we'll have a best-of-1 match between the second and third place winner. The winner of that will go on to play first place. So you can see it there on your screens. That's how we're going to do it, so we can decide who is going to replace 100 Thieves. So even if you are in that 2 or 3 group, still everything to play for, Janko.
Yeah, absolutely. You still get another chance. The calculation is there who goes in which spot, but the main point is, even if you lose out in the end, you get that last chance qualifier, so to speak, where you need either 1 or 2 more wins and you will be